Good morning. My name is Lydia. Some of you may know me as Lydia Butterflydia, and I got that nickname back in 1998, Butterflydia. It was a nickname to represent how I felt at the time. I was going through a big transformation period in my life. I was in like my late 20s. I was turning 30 and I was making a lot of changes. So I felt like Lydia was um, was going through the process like a butterfly, from a caterpillar to cocooning and then into full blown butterflydia with wings to fly free. Basically, just free from all the chains that bind me or bound me at the time. I just think that's a natural part of evolution and conscious evolution, actually, for those who seek it. Just something that's been really important to me since my early 20s. And I want to tell a little bit about my story. It's just a part of my story. My story is long and has all kinds of experiences, but this was a really big one for me that has been a big part of my motivation um, for change, positive change. I'm sitting out on my back porch enjoying the morning sun. It's about 10 o'clock a.m. on Saturday, September 25th. And earlier this month, on September 10th, was National Suicide Prevention Day. Apparently, it's September 25th. And the month prior, on August 8th, was the 30-year anniversary that my sister, my oldest sister, she was 9 years older than me, she basically created an accident because she wanted to end her life. She did not want anyone to know or think that she wanted to end her life because she was private and embarrassed that she did not want to live anymore. So she created an opportunity to make, she thought she was creating an accident to look like an accident. The problem with her method was that she did it when I was with her, and it was total shock for me. Really was difficult for me to have that be an experience in my life and have her involve me in such a thing without even thinking about the consequences that it would, or the impact, I guess is the right word, the impact that it would have on my life. And, it was, we weren't even that close because we weren't that close in age. I loved her, but her life was completely different than mine. I was in, had just finished college. I was on top of the world. Things were going good in my life. I was ready to graduate. And my plan was to move back to Italy because I just came back from Italy and I wanted to go back. But that turned my world upside down. when she did that and she took her own life. And it really caused me to want to try to figure out, what the meaning of life was. It was a big motivation for me in my own personal conscious evolution journey. I didn't know it at the time, but I was questioning, is this all there is to life? Because at that point, my life sucked. It was great, and then it sucked. So I was 21 years old when this happened. She was turning 30 or was 30. And I started, of course, I was seeing a therapist for the time period. And the first book I read was The Dance of Anger. And then the second book somebody had given to me or told me about, and it was called Spirit of the Anatomy, or maybe it's called Anatomy of the Spirit. I think that's what it's called. That book opened me up to a world of awareness and possibility. Shortly thereafter, a couple years later, I read Seed of the Soul by Gary Zukav. That was another big book that just was, gosh, man, it provided so many answers to questions that I had. And it's such a intricate part of my journey. Back in this happened in the suicide happened in 1991, and again 30 years ago. And I was told by a lady, she was really kind of spiritual and into things. She looked in my eyes and she goes, "You're a healer. You're going to be a healer." And I'm like, I'm not going back to medical school. No way. I just finished college. I'm not interested in being a doctor or a nurse, or, that's not me. I had no idea. I didn't understand. At that time, I wasn't exposed to all kinds of levels of healing. And I didn't even think about therapist or psychologist or I was just young. I wasn't thinking about coaches or anything like that, being helpful in someone's healing. I just thought about Western medicine, doctors, prescriptions, drugs, as a healing modality. But since then, the world and my spiritual journey has brought me through my own personal healing journey, which has that I've allowed myself to be exposed to a lot of different modalities. And honestly, I feel like everyone's journey is their own. If they have any area of their life that's not working for them, there's somebody out there that can help them to work on that area. But you just have to find the right healer, the right person that feels right to you. And a lot of times it'll show up if you have it in your mind and you're interested in finding the right person. I recently had some space in my life where I could take the time to dig a little deeper into some areas of my life that weren't working, that I wanted to work on, and find out what were some blocks that I was having in certain areas. And one of those teachers, or one of those helpers, the healer helper that I needed, just showed up in my life through a Facebook algorithm. And I just had it in my mind that I needed someone to help in this one area. I wasn't seeking it, and the Facebook algorithm friend suggestion popped up on my feed and said, you might want to be friends with this person. It's a suggested friend because you have 65 friends in common. And so I clicked on the profile and I read what the bio said about the person, and he was a healer and a trainer and a coach, and I was like, wow, based on his bio, I think I need this. I need this person to help me. I think this might be the person to help me. Um, he also happened to be a medium, which I wasn't really looking for, wasn't interested in. But in our first, we talked for 30 minutes, decided whether or not he would be able to help me, and we both determined that it would be a good undertaking. And so we had our first session, and this was like August, this was a month ago. So August, gosh, I want to say like 16th, 17th. So just like 10 days after my 30-year anniversary of my sister's suicide, that I was, present for, unwillingly present for. Um, and just to be clear, we were just together that day. I mean, it was not anything that I was aware of. It was, she just, so I'll jump into the session. So basically, the trainer, healer, teacher had a session with me, and in the first session I said I wanted to see if my sister's spirit would come through and give me some answers to the suicide experience, and if there was any areas of healing that needed to be done in that area. After 30 years, I thought I'd done it all. I thought I'd taken care of it. And come to find out, she said a lot. She said a lot. Um, she said a lot of things I needed to hear. So for anyone who's like skeptical, I don't really care if it was her or God talking to me, pretending it was her. Like, it doesn't even matter who delivered the information, whether it was Sharon or a fake teacher who wasn't channeling for real. Like, I don't even care. It's the result that I got from the information that was shared that matters. And what happened was the information shared provided some great clarity for me so that I could get unstuck in a particular area that I was feeling stuck in, about some ambiguity about the event and the situation. Was it planned? Um, was it accidental? Was it intentional? Was it, um, why did she have me there? Why did she pick me to do it in front of me? I mean, just so many questions over the years that were unanswered and unidentified for me, that caused, like confusion in my spirit by not knowing the information. So I don't really care if it was legitimate or not. The information that I believe was provided to me through this session helped me to move forward. That's basically the bottom line for me. So a lot was said. Some actions were taken in this session to help me break free from any of the connections to that experience so that I could move forward and let go. And it felt good. I had a physical, for anyone who's curious, I had a physical reaction. Um, we did a contract um, separation type uh, activity over the session. And by the way, this was just on the phone. And right here in my chest at the end of the session, after we did like the release statement, it was vibrating. It was like humming. This like energy was moving out of me, and it felt like a fire hydrant full of about this big of energy coming out of my chest. And it did that for about 60 seconds or more. Um, then I felt a new level of light, of levity um, in me. My homework was to relax that weekend, and not spend time talking to anyone that would be causing arguments or that were toxic relationships, or um, just being around people who were gentle, who were gentle and understanding of what I was going through. And I felt like a new person, you know. Butterflydia 2.0 was available. So I'm sharing this story not only during the month of National Suicide Prevention, but I want to be helpful based on my life experience. There's a whole level of healing that has to be done for the survivors of the people that have passed on due to suicide. And back in 1994, that lady told me I was going to be a healer. Well, now I understand. It's 30 years later, and I understand that I could be helpful in helping people process energy and emotions in relationship to traumatic experiences, primarily and especially suicide. And I want to be available for those who could find comfort and resolve in their spirit after going through something like that with a family member. And I feel like that's something that I can contribute to the world, and be helpful for um, anyone who needs a listening ear, needs to process. You know, I've always thought about the fact that if you were going to go on an Amazon jungle tour, would you want to go on a guided tour with someone who read about it, about it, about the jungle in a book and studied it? Or would you want to be on a guided tour with somebody who's already been through the jungle? And I always thought I'd want to pick the person who's been through the jungle, not just studied it and got the certificate, you know, from reading about it, an actual experience of it. So um, I'm launching in October um, my availability for people who need help, who want to process their thoughts, their energy, their emotions as it relates to any kind of difficulties in their lives, and help them like a guide on what they can do with ideas on helping to um, move through and move beyond, and move past. And just know that your experience is like an onion. I have had many good years in the 30 years that I've been living since this experience happened. to me the loss of my sister through suicide. I've had great years, but that didn't mean that there wasn't more layers and more work to be done to process it and to get past it and work through it. So I just created this video to introduce that idea to anyone who might find a need to reach out and find someone who could understand and help them work through whatever it is that's available. So I'll be putting my website together soon. Right now I have butterflydia.com, and that's BUTTERFLY, like butterfly, and then DIA, butterflydia.com. And that's probably where I'll put my healing services and sessions for people. I've already started, even though I don't have the marketing piece together yet. But if anybody's interested, just reach out. You can also email butterflydia@gmail.com, and you can get me that way as well until I get all the other pieces together. So I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful life, and know that you have the power to create and manifest whatever it is in your life that you desire, and find people, supportive entities and organizations and friends and family. Find those people who can support you in that journey. And if you know that you deserve that and nobody in your sphere of influence is available to you, then it's worth it to hire people to support you in living your best life if you don't even have those kinds of people around you. Now with the internet, you can have teachers and helpers and guides from all over the world. It doesn't even matter where they live, and you can still get the resources that you need. There's a lot of free resources out there using the internet or Facebook as well. I know there's a lot of Facebook groups that are free, so go for it. Find your tools, find your people, find your resources that make you happy, and go for it. It's worth it. It's worth it. This is my little baby Joy. She helps keep me grounded. She's been helping me keep grounded for 14 years. Oh, time to end the video. Okay, thank you everyone. That's my intro to what's next for me in my life. Thank you. Thank you.